What is going on, my Guardian Gamers? Is I, Byrdman, back with another Destiny 2 setup. And today we're going to be doing a bit of an update on a really cool Stasis build that I did last season whenever the, at the time, new Titan exotic helmet came out with Lightfall. Really fun little setup, can do endgame content, and as well as, some of those legend and master lost sectors and all that fun stuff. But before I get into the entire setup and everything involved with it, you can follow me over on Twitter and YouTube at Byrdman778. Make sure you give a thumbs up on this video. Let me know something you're interested in seeing down below, whether it is Titan, Hunter, or Warlock. Subscribe to the channel and become a member. Especially, actually all four of those things are absolutely ginormous. The first two for just like helping us out in the algorithm and just getting more eyeballs on us, and the other two just to bolster up that little number and help us out a little bit, and just again supporting the channel, which I appreciate all of you guys doing. Now let's jump right into the setup. Now we always like to start off with what exotic we're going to be using for this setup, and that's going to be the Cadmus Ridge Lance Cap. Its armor perk reads Lancer's Vigil. Diamond lances create stasis crystals on impact when thrown, and more crystals created by hitting bosses and vehicles. While using a stasis subclass behind your rally barricade, rapid precision hits and combatant final blows with a stasis weapon creates a diamond lance near you. I really actually like this because it's just a really interesting setup of just kind of doing something a little bit anti-Titan in the way that we're gonna lock down in place for a lot of times every once in a while, and just absolutely focus on getting precision kills and stuff like that, and taking advantage of the really awesome stasis crystals that our diamond lances will create. What I also like about this is this setup really helps us out with our grenade energy as well, so we're able to take advantage of that in that end game content. So across the board, this is actually one that I would say this is an exotic that people absolutely sleep on. Is a sleeper cell, and a lot more of you guys need to give it a shot. When it comes to our subclass, obviously, first off, we're gonna have to go with that Glacial Quake for our super. Really good against bosses and everything like that. Definitely the vehicle bosses more than anything, just because they're able to have those stasis crystals explode in a wider range. Again, we're gonna be getting a stasis update in season 23, so I don't think we're going to be getting any more supers or anything like that, but I really hope for like a sneaky little slid one in there or something like that for this. Obviously, for our abilities on that barricade, you have to use the rally barricade to take advantage of that, so definitely recommend that. Really have no choice with this Shiver Strike. This is literally the worst powered melee in the entire game. Absolutely don't use this. I mean, you're probably going to eventually have to use this in some way, shape, or form. If anything, use it to get out of trouble, because that's pretty much all it's really good for. On our grenade, I recommend the Dustfield Grenade personally, purely off the fact that it helps add into our end game content, for the fact that it's able to stun overload champions whenever it starts to slow them. Do know as well, the Glacial Grenade is also a phenomenal choice because of the fact that it's going to help feed into a lot of our stasis explosions more than anything. But I really think that the Dustfield Grenade works because we're getting plenty of those crystals already from these diamond lances that we're going to be chucking around. Aspect wise, I recommend Tectonic Harvest. Shattering stasis crystals creates a stasis shard, and the shard grants melee energy when picked up by you or your allies. This is just great all around for feeding into our setup and getting us those stasis crystals. And then finally, be Diamond Lance. Obviously, shatter and defeat targets with the stasis ability or weapons to create a stasis lance. You're able to chuck that, and then whenever you do, it's now going to create that little stasis shard there for you to do extra damage with. Now, again, remember, shattering is also going to be able to stun unstoppable champions. So this, just from the subclass alone, we're able to take on 2 different champions right there. So that's really great for us. And do remember, you can actually hold on to the lance and do a bit of a slam with it. Definitely don't recommend that in endgame content, purely off the fact that with this setup, you definitely want to be sitting back and just enjoying, sniping people. Because we're using that Diamond Lance aspect, we actually end up getting 5 fragments in total. First off, I recommend Whisper of Shard. Shattering stasis crystals temporarily boosts your grenade recharge rate, and shattering additional crystals increases the duration of this benefit. I believe that goes up to about a 400% increase of your recharge rate with this. So you will have that stasis Dustfield Grenade pretty often with this setup. So enjoy just blowing up crystals, chucking lances, and then chucking grenades, because this is a whole lot of fun. Whisper of Refraction. Defeating slowed or frozen targets grants you class ability energy. This is obviously really important for this setup because we are depending on our barricade a lot. So being able to create that is really nice, and having essentially any enemy that we attack being slowed or frozen is going to, help this out. Whisper Conduction, nearby stasis shards track your position. This is a bit of like a flex, like luxury one, but I really have always enjoyed this just purely off the fact that a lot of those elemental pickups that we get are just kind of like standing in one spot. You have to go pick them up yourself. So something like this where it's able to pull it to me, or like think back to like Arc with the Ionic Traces, the fact that those like follow after you is really beneficial to us. Whisper of Fissures is next, increases the damage and size of the burst of stasis crystals you destroy, and stasis crystals defeat a frozen target. Obviously, this is going to be huge because we're going to be constantly getting those crystals from our diamond lance, and also the weapon I recommend from this setup. So getting those big booms on those stasis crystals is definitely beneficial. And then finally, Whisper of Rendering. I think this is really cool because primary ammo weapons do increase damage to stasis crystals and frozen targets, essentially giving us a damage boost on literally any enemy we attack, or simply just blowing up a crystal so that we're able to get a big boom, or even some grenade energy back for us. Now, I was mentioning a weapon that I actually think is really good for this setup, and that is going to be the Verglass Curve. If you checked out my Stasis Hunter build a couple days ago, you would see me using this, and obviously I'm being a little hot for this right now. Funny enough that I'm saying this hot with like a stasis bow, hot and cold, yes, no. Anyway, its intrinsic trait reads Hail Barrage. Final blows of this weapon grant stasis arrows. Your next hip fire shot will fire all of them in a single volley. And then the Hailstorm perk, direct hits with stasis arrows freeze combatants and slow opposing guardians. Stasis arrows that impact the environment create stasis crystals. So obviously we're able to take advantage of those big explosions from those stasis crystals. And it's also, again, really nice against targets. If they're like a champion or something like that, we just direct hit them and they're going to instantly freeze for us. Also, if you are able to get the Verglass Curve Catalyst, it gives you the ability of freezing or slowing a target, grants this weapon faster draw speed for a short period of time. I will say this is more of a really good quality of life thing. It is not very important for the build, but it is very nice to have. When it comes to all the mods you're going to be using for this setup, first off, on your helmet, I recommend a Harmonic Siphon, purely off the fact that, you're mainly just going to be using your stasis weapon for this, so might as well do that. A Dynamo, so that whenever we activate our class ability near targets, we're able to get some super energy back. Do know that this can be changed out for an Ashes to Assets if you really feel like it. And then a Heavy Ammo Finder. I've been enjoying a little bit more since I've been focusing a little bit more into using my heavy slot, especially machine guns, against overload champions. On our arms, I really recommend a grenade kickstart so that we're able to take advantage of getting plenty of grenades. When we chuck it, we get that energy back. Boltering detonation, class ability energy when you cause damage with a grenade. Obviously, we're going to be causing damage with our grenade, so that's a really decent one. And then I just put on a fastball just because I felt like it. I don't know. I really couldn't think of anything else to chuck on this setup. Also, I was just kind of moving a bunch of stat stuff around with it, so this just felt right. On our chest piece, I went with a double concussive dampener and then a charged up. Now, do know I would say one of these probably could get swapped out for another charged up, so you're able to take more advantage of that grenade kickstart, but note that this is probably a better setup for endgame content. When it comes to our legs, first off, an elemental charge is really nice just because it's going to be able to turn those stasis shards into armor charges instead, and then also a stacks on stacks so that the orbs of power we pick up or those stasis crystals have a chance of counting as 2 armor charges rather than 1. And then I just put on a recuperation so that whenever we grab those orbs of power, we're going to get a little bit of health back. And then finally, on our class ability item, first off, a powerful attraction to pull in all those orbs around us, a Reaper so that whenever we activate our barricade, our next kill will get us an orb of power, and then a distribution so that we get some cooldowns whenever we activate that near targets. Not a whole lot here when it comes to the artifact. I would say we need to just really focus on 4 and 5 here. First off, Overload Machine Gun, definitely worth it. Elemental Fury, more damage against those stunned champions, and then a refreshing pickups so that we get some extra energy back whenever we chuck like a orb or something like that. And then finally, Monochromatic Maestro for that extra damage bonus, as well as an elemental munitions so that whenever we kill an enemy with one of those orbs or something like that, we get some heavy ammo back. Now, I've been adding this into all of my setups to kind of like talk about how this is better for endgame. First off, for barrier champions, you obviously have the Verglass Curve for that, but do know you also can really take advantage of just like constantly freezing them with a good just like flow between your grenade, as well as a Diamond Lance and your Verglass Curve. You won't be able to stun them, but you'll be able to constantly freeze them to the point that they won't be able to activate that barrier around them. For Unstoppables, I actually have a fusion rifle on right now, so that works for that. But do know the stasis shatter effect will be able to activate that on them. So freeze them, shatter them, and then they will be instantly stunned. And then finally for overload, obviously I've been recommending using an overload machine gun, but at the same time, stasis slow effects from our grenade, specifically the dust field grenade, will take care of that for you. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you guys really enjoy it. This is going to be one that I'm going to be definitely focusing on once Stasis, I guess 2.0 comes out in November. Hopefully we still see with all this Destiny stuff going on over at Bungie. Hopefully season 23 still comes out on time in November. As of today, when I'm actually recording this, it's Thursday the 2nd. They had just released a small little update, and it seems as though they're still on track with everything. But again, you just never know what delays might come around the corner. But until then, again, know you can follow me over on YouTube and Twitter at Byrdman778. Give a thumbs up on this video. Let me know something down below. And then definitely subscribe and become a member to the channel, especially the member, guys. It'd be really awesome just to see the support from the community. But I just appreciate you all watching the videos and showing all the love recently. And I hope you guys have a great night, day, or whatever it may be.